Yesterday, it was my first time ever crossing the border in my truck with my digital passport. And I held my phone up to the border agent to give him the QR code. Oh, it's okay, I don't need it. He said, oh, your phone already popped up on my screen and is correlated with your passport.
You need to have people trust it to even use it because it's all voluntary.
In the future, do you think everyone is going to be chipped?
I think it'll be voluntary.
Where have we heard that before?
But in countries such as India, there's little choice. People there must download a state-backed tracing app if they want to travel.
Let me show you what is going on now in Canada.
This app, which I discussed last night in Tucker Carlson, and I explained that the other night when I was coming across the border for the first time using a COVID app on my phone, okay? I drive up to the border gate and I hold my phone to show the QR code to the border agent. And you know what he says? He says, oh, it's okay, I don't need to see it. I said, why? Isn't there the regular? He said, no. You already popped up on my computer. So as soon as you drive in a certain vicinity of my booth, I can see your passport and all of your documentation before you even come here.
Oh, my gosh.
And I thought, yeah, what is that? When do we start, expanding that technology across the entire country? There's your basis for social credit and tracking absolutely everybody, which is what we've been saying about this the entire time, and nobody's been listening to us.
Tell us why you're doing this. What's the point of this convoy?
Well, it's simple. I mean, we've seen Canada go from a country of Justin Trudeau's promises of sunny ways into dark authoritarian oppression and control.
Yes.
We want two things. We want to get rid of the vaccine mandates and the passports. And the passports that's a really concerning one. Yesterday, it was my first time ever crossing the border in my truck with my digital passport. And I held my phone up to the border agent to give him the QR code. You know what he said to me? Oh, it's okay, I don't need it. So what do you mean you don't need it? He said, oh, your phone already popped up on my screen and is correlated with your passport. Can you think of that? Can you believe that? So they know everybody who's coming up to the border before they're there, and they're tracking them. Now, maybe it's outlandish, but what's to prevent the government from introducing that across Canada?
So everything I'm talking about here is a high-tech version of a low-tech classic pandemic fighting tool called contact tracing. If someone's infected with COVID-19, a public health official will want to get in touch with everyone that person may have been in contact with over the past 2 weeks. That way you can test them, warn them, make sure they don't infect others. But can a little radio Bluetooth ping from your phone really get us back to some resemblance of a normal life? The issue is that this coronavirus is highly contagious. It's easy to spread it, and you could be sick for 2 weeks and not even know it. Plus, do you really remember every single person you came in contact with over the past 2 weeks? Who were you next to at the grocery store? Or what about the bus stop? And how about that taxi driver? Yeah, that's where the phone can be useful.
Critics worry that this means a centralized government database has near seamless information about the location of millions.
Indian authorities, however, insist that of the app's millions of users, only the data of those thousands detected COVID positive is being tracked to alert their contacts. And even their data would be deleted 60 days after they had recovered.
There is no possibility of surveillance or any such issue. Our privacy policy is very clear and is readily available.
But privacy activists are not satisfied. They say an app this invasive needs to be more transparent about its data storage and source code.
We need more than just statements suggesting that it's safe. Yeah, what is that? When do we start, expanding that technology across the entire country? There's your basis for social credit and tracking absolutely everybody, which is what we've been saying about this the entire time, and nobody's been listening to us. That the basic philosophy underlying this entire problem that with all the truckers are angry and fighting about is we don't want the government to protect us. We want the government to protect our rights. And they've been negligent in that, and they are violating the Charter of Freedom of Rights and the spirit of the Charter of Freedom of Rights to do all this for the Great Reset, for this authoritarian AI, modern communist this philosophy, which is completely crazy.
Digital contact tracing has the phone send out Bluetooth radio pings constantly, keeping a record of all the other phones that also had this service turned on that were near you in the past 2 weeks. So all those random people you may have interacted with, but you don't know who they are to even warn them, well, they can get a warning if the time comes that you get sick. They can get alerted that they may have been near a sick person. Apple and Google are working on ways for this to work seamlessly across iPhones and Android phones. They even came up with a little graphic to help explain it. Alice and Bob meet and talk for 10 minutes. Their phones are exchanging little anonymous pings, and the phones keep a record of it on the device. Oh no, Bob is sick. He tests positive for COVID-19. He downloads an app from a public health authority, and the app requires a doctor to indicate that he indeed has tested positive for COVID-19. With Bob's permission, because this is all in Bob's power, he sends a warning to any phone he came in contact with over the past 14 days.
Whether you like COVID passports or not, at least people aren't putting microchips under your skin and recording your... They're putting microchips under people's skin in Sweden. This is one version of under the skin I cannot approve of. But when you hear stories like, hey, one advantage of this current pandemic and the vaccine mandates is it does create opportunities for regulation and legislation that you wouldn't even have countenanced just 5 years ago. But at least we're not in Philip K. Dick dystopia crazy territory of people becoming sort of half robots. Well, not yet. But let me tell you, plans are afoot. Let's have a reasonable, rational look at microchips being inserted into your human skin.
Turning to tech, nations try to track and trace their way out of the corona crisis. Some see apps as essential.
There are currently over 3.5 million downloads and registrations of the COVID Safe app, and there needs to be millions more. This is incredibly important.
But apps have had limited success. Australia's has picked up only 1 case in a month. And privacy concerns remain, with a citizen's every move being monitored. Some countries, like Japan, appear to have fought off the virus without the help of such technology. So, are tracking apps really key to fighting COVID-19?
Soblad demonstrated how it was possible to scan the chip with his phone to bring up a PDF that showed all the details of his EU digital COVID certificate, a pass somewhat similar to the US vaccine card. This means it's always accessible for me or anyone else. Oh good old anyone else. The government, Big Pharma, the CIA, good old anyone else. Those people that have never caused us any problems ever. Who wants to read me. For example, if I go to the movies or go to a shopping centre, then people will be able to check my status even if I don't have my phone, says Slowbad. Have you watched any of them documentaries about the direction that big tech is heading in and the problems it's causing socially? When you watch them, do you think, this is a good thing, we need to go further that way, quickly? Slowbad told the AFP that these implants are not tracking devices and only respond to being scanned. Yeah, for now, mate.